Alright, hello and welcome. So given the equation, the parabola below, find the following. So first off, we got to figure out a lot of things for this thing, and the first thing you need to start out with is which direction you're looking at. Okay, you have four options for a parabola. It's either going up or it's going down. You also have the option of it going left or it's going right. You know, four options. Which one is it? Well, how you tell is you have your equation here. Now, this one, you have two kinds of equations. You have x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. Or you have y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h. Now, which equation we have here will really determine a lot of the vertical or horizontal stuff. If your x is being squared, that is a vertical parabola. If your y is being squared, that is horizontal. Okay? So in this case, we have an x being squared, meaning that we have this case. It's going up or it's going down. So we don't have to worry about the horizontal case at all. Okay? So now we need to figure out whether it's going up or it's going down. And how we can tell that is by looking at the 4p value, right? That value in front of our y minus k. And that determines the rest of it. Right now we see a positive 44 on there. So if we're going vertical, right, 44 positive numbers go up, which means that we are looking at a vertical, like going direction of opening is up parabola. Now, if we saw instead a negative 44 there, then that would be going down. Okay, so positive up, negative down. What you would assume for vertical movement. Okay, so that means that we have a parabola that's doing something like this, somewhere on our coordinate plane, right? And that helps us find a ton of the information. So first off, we have our vertex. That is your h, comma, k. You have your focus, and now because we know the focus is going within the direction of opening, so it's going up from your vertex. Okay, now remember that is a p distance away from your vertex, so if we're going to be moving up, your x value will stay the same, and then it'll be adding the p value to the focus. Okay, that means your directrix is going to be essentially doing the same thing, but instead of adding p, we subtract it. Okay, now remember, directrix and the axis of symmetry are equations, so you have either x or y equals. Think about it, the directrix is the line behind the parabola, and if you have like a y-axis, x and y-axis, if you have the directrix, right, the directrix will eventually cross the y-axis at some point, so it's y equals k minus p. Right? Your axis of symmetry then will be an x equals, because that'll be a vertical line where essentially the vertical line crosses the x-axis at some point, so it's x equals as a line. So that's how I remember which one for those ones. Okay? And then you'll notice that the axis of symmetry will essentially just mirror whatever the vertex and focus x values are, so it'll just be x equals h for that one. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, we'll just tackle focal diameter. Focal diameter is a very fancy way to say 4p. Okay, it's that number right there. The difference is that the focal diameter is a length. It is specifically the length from this side of the parabola to the other. Okay, and lengths cannot be negative. So if we had a negative 44 there, you would put positive 44. Okay, it's already a positive number, so just put 44 there. Okay, all right. So let's find the rest of the information. So h, comma, k. So h and k are found within your parentheses. They are the numbers being added, subtracted, x and y. So notice that in the equations, though, they're subtract h and subtract k, meaning that you take whatever these numbers are and you use the opposite sign of what you see. So what's the opposite of subtraction? Addition. So you have positive 10. All right. Likewise, what's the opposite of 8? Positive 8 is negative 8. So 10, negative 8 is your vertex. Now the 4p value is that 44, so in order to find just p, because it's just the p distance up, 4p equals 44. So if you divide by 4 on both sides, you get your p value to equal 11. That means that we have a distance of 11 to go from vertex, which is that point right there, to your focus. Okay? So that means we have our 10, and then we add 11 onto our negative 8, so that should give you 3. So 10 comma 3 is your focus. Okay, the directrix is essentially just going the other direction. Well, you have negative 8, and you'd be going down 11 from there, because that's also a p distance from your vertex to directrix. So then from there, all you have to do is say, all right, negative 8 minus 11, negative 19. So y equals negative 19 is your directrix. Our x value is 10, so x equals 10 is your axis of symmetry. And that's it. That's all you got to do for that one. Thanks for watching.